And guess what? It's Bledisloe Cup time. That's right, it is just about time to take on the Wallabies, of course, in Sydney first, and then we come back here to Wellington. Good evening to you, Jeff Wilson, Mills Muliaina, and it's a big welcome back from South Africa to you, Justin Marshall. Great to have you back with us.
How's it? It's nice to be back, but...
Are you feeling South African
yes.
after that?
Yeah, a little bit. I've had my fair share of steak and biltong, that's for sure, but what a couple of epic test matches. I can tell you, you guys have both been there. You know what Ellis Park is like. In that atmosphere, in that environment, you just can't replicate it anywhere else in the world. It's incredible.
I'm getting sick of a breakdown on a Sunday when we're not talking about us winning. Let's be fair.
Yeah, that's right. So I guess the big questions are now, the Black Ferns have lost back-to-back matches against England and they've struggled against the top 10 nations in the world over the last 12 months. The All Blacks have lost back-to-back test matches against South Africa. So are New Zealand still the envy of the rugby world, do you think, Mills?
I don't know. I think we've lost a lot of ground. There's no doubt about that, given the results that we've sort of had. You've certainly seen the Northern Hemisphere, both of you guys. I mean, they're stepping up. Their competitions are probably more fluent, more consistency in what they sort of do. The 20s, you know, the Premiership, even the women's. You know, I think so. We've definitely, the results aren't going our way. We've still got the talent. I think when we get back on that winning stage, hopefully things will start to pan out.
Well, Marcia, I'll ask you this question then. What is success? If you're looking at New Zealand rugby, and obviously we haven't won the big one, the men's side haven't. The Black Ferns have done an unbelievable job in terms of winning Olympic gold. There's had a lot of success. But when you start looking at New Zealand rugby as a whole, what are the things you look at to say, yeah, we are the envy of the rest of the world, or we are still on top? Are there areas where we just have to live with the fact we're not there now?
I look beyond performance and I look at we're a result-orientated nation. You know, we want to beat everybody and everybody wants to beat us. And that is in our DNA, that ability to win regardless of the performance. And that's, to a degree, what South Africa have discovered at the moment. Like, they don't know how to lose. And that's a really, really powerful tool to have in sport, refusing to lose. Good All Black teams, good teams historically, they don't accept losing, and that's got to be the benchmark. And at the moment, we're just dropping rugby games too often, and that's where you need to be. You win, and everything takes care of itself. You win World Cups, you win rugby championships. You know, you win everything, and you're number one in the world.
So is the entire New Zealand rugby landscape judged on the All Blacks? Because the Black Fern Sevens have that winning culture. They don't lose, and they know how to win matches. Look at the Olympic Games. Are they purely based, though, on the All Blacks' results?
I think there's an element of that. I mean, you mentioned three letters there, though, DNA. And I think for us in New Zealand rugby, we're in this position right now where the game is challenging us in certain ways. Teams are giving us difficulty. And I felt we had that through 2003 through 2011, where the game didn't suit the All Blacks. It got very confrontational. England were very, very good. Obviously, the Springboks win in 2007, Mills. And I start thinking about, what is our DNA? Like, is our DNA shifting? What's our competitive advantage as a rugby nation? And are we providing the players and the coaches the best opportunities to be successful? I'm talking about New Zealand rugby here, because if you start looking at our history, we're not winning World Under-20 titles. We are not winning Rugby World Cups. We're under pressure when we're up against the top sides. We've lost series in New Zealand for the first time. We've lost to Argentina at home for the first time. This balance of power, and yes, our record overall in terms of percentages, it looks quite good. But is winning the Rugby Championship a great gauge?
We haven't got that this year.
Well, you think about the All Black Sevens. Now, that's a very highly competitive competition. Really difficult to win that across a season. Obviously, the Black Ferns have won 2 Rugby World Cups in 17 and 21, but I'm just looking at it as a whole, and I'm going, you know what? What is our DNA? I've always believed, Mills, that we're 1 to 23 as a team. The way that we play, 1 to 15 on the field. We use a certain skill set. Are we doing and playing to that, or are we chasing everybody else and we can't get back ahead of the game? And that's not good enough for us, given the way we've played the game in the past. Yeah, is that fair or not?
I think the landscape's actually changed a heck of a lot. I think our development in regards to how we sort of develop the players sort of coming through. I mean, you talk about that period, but we're actually quite strong in that period. I don't think we've ever got to a stage here where we're reacting. We've never done that. We've sort of evolved. And, you know, I remember even the NPC, we used to have a B team that you sort of, you know, thrive to get into the NPC sides. We've sort of scrapped that. Under 20 models, it used to be under 19s, under 21s. You go to World Cups in those, and we used to dominate that. We've kind of just come out of high school also in the lower grades and gone straight to 20s. And there's a lot of guys in that sort of era that sort of, are having to go into club rugby and play club rugby. And we all know the state club rugby's in at the moment. And then we get to the top and we're not really starting to develop, results that we used to. We used to dominate. And unfortunately, right now, the landscape has changed because we're being reactive as opposed to being innovative.
People used to fear coming to New Zealand to play against any of our teams. But we've lost that mojo, and teams are starting to come here and win regularly. Teams that historically have never been able to do it. Ireland and Argentina, you mentioned, the Lions series was drawn. There are no longer that fear in the players' minds of New Zealand are impossible to beat at home. That was a powerful thing that the All Blacks used to carry, but that's dissipated. We've lost that.
Surely you can't get that back then.
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
How do you get it back?
Well,
because it was a record thing, right?
Yeah,
it was because no one could come here and win, but now they can.
And they don't have that baggage. But I think what you need to do is you need to make it an impenetrable force again. Like
how do you do that?
It's like Eden Park.
How do you do that? How do you create players and coaches who are ready for that challenge, Marshy?
That's the challenge, isn't it? How do you create that DNA that you're talking about that gives New Zealand back that ability to put the fear of God in the opponents because they know that it's near on impossible to beat the All Blacks at home?
But let's talk about the here and now, because the Bledisloe Cup Challenge is 1 week away. We are halfway through the season, 4 wins, 3 losses, if you need reminding. So midway through the season, where are the All Blacks at? What would you give them? If you're looking at a report card right now, where are they at right now? If we put the system and all of that to one side and we just talk about the here and now and this team in 2024, new coaches, new players, post-Rugby World Cup cycle, where are they at?
Well, they need to get back on the horse, right? I said that after they lost against the South Africans. Psychologically, now is probably the most important part. When you're going into an Aussie side that just been dealt to by an Argentinian team, they've got to win these 2 test matches and, in my mind, win them well. I think we've got the capability. I think we've got the players to do it. I believe we've got the players to do it. The key thing for me is now when you go over to Sydney, they've got to connect now. I mean, they've got to get their game plan together and win well.
Do the All Blacks fix some of the issues that we've seen in the last couple of weeks, finishing games in the last 20 minutes, impact from the bench? What do you think they do, Marshy?
Well, they would have learnt, particularly, 3 test matches this year that they were in that they've ended up losing. That can't continue to happen. So that's got to be responsibility not only on the players but on the coaching group to educate. The good thing is that they're in the fight. They are in the contest and do have the ability to win them. So that's really encouraging. The problem is the pressure. Losing test matches formulates pressure, and now that makes it hard to make brave, bold decisions that need to be made to a degree. Because
what are the brave, bold decisions?
Well, we need to answer some questions, don't we, about what our best team is. When we find that team that starts gelling and starts playing well and the combos start working and the balance becomes right, then that team starts playing together, that's when they win those games in the last quarter. That's when they win a test match, when they're probably not playing so well. So, yeah, some selection areas. I think loose forwards,
positions?
We haven't got the balance right there. I'd like to see Artie have a go at 7. And Wallace Satiti, who was outstanding in Cape Town, have a go at number 8, because he's a number 8. He's not a number 6.
Yeah. And he was amazing at 6,
Absolutely.
out of position.
This is not saying or criticising the current players that are occupying those jerseys, because we are performing well. We're just not quite there yet. But we need to find out whether or not the backline can function better with a different 10 or a different fullback.
If we bring 60 minutes, the 2 60 minutes we did against South Africa, against Australia, we bring that intensity, we'll take more opportunities, then we'll be in control of those test matches.
But we can, with the greatest respect, just pulling out to Australia every time, but we can bully the Australian teams physically. But we can't do that against those. So what questions is that going to answer?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so for me, it has to be comprehensive. There are so many areas of the game we should be able to dominate.
Yes.
And not just for 60 minutes, for 80 minutes, Mills. And the fact that we've got to get our selection right. At the moment, they're still searching for me about who it is and what those players are, in which positions. I think there's a number. what's going to happen at halfback?
What would you do?
I think
against
Cortez
Australia?
Ratama did enough in his 65 minutes in that test match starting to deserve another opportunity. But what's the impact do off the bench? Look, I don't know. I was frustrated with TJ's impact in these 2 test matches. The fact that he was just a bit wide. He was hot. He was coming in hot, and he put himself in a situation where he was the target of the referees. He needs to be beyond that, because what we need is balance, and we need composure to finish test matches, Mills, right?
Yeah, and that's the boldness Marshy's sort of talking about. But unfortunately, Razor hasn't got that on the side because he's lost, three test matches so far. So you need to be a bit bold in those decisions. I think, Wallace deserves another opportunity. I think the makeup, and it's such a key part of our game, the Lucies.
Yeah.
They've sort of gone. Blackadder's been in there, Sam Kane. They've moved, Dalton as well. So they still haven't quite nailed that part. And unfortunately for us, it's a big part. With Wallace being there, he brings something totally different because he is an out-and-out number 8. Carries well defensively. He's solid, and he's a line-out option as well.
Yep.
But are you bold enough to make, a decision where you change the 10, put Mackenzie at the back, move a Will Jordan around and bring Bowden on to start? That's where they need to sort of get to, particularly when you're playing against, a Wallabies side. But is he bold enough to do it? I don't know.
Just quickly on the Wallabies, because you're right, Marshy, this is going out to Australia, so they'll be interested in what you think. Where is this team at? You just said the All Blacks can bully Australia. Where is Joe Schmidt's Wallabies at after hitting rock bottom last year at the Rugby World Cup, didn't they?
Yeah, it's either going to go one way or another. It's going to spiral, or he's going to get a response after a performance like that. And I feel a response. He's too good a coach, and they're too good a side, and they've got great individuals. But as a team, they just let themselves down. They lacked, real character on the day, and they will have an abundance of that against the All Blacks at home. That's what they love, that type of challenge. So I'd be very, very, very wary of a bitten wallaby. We've all been there, haven't we?
You've been bitten by wallabies before.
Yeah, they are the dangerous side when they've been hurt, like they got hurt in Argentina. That's for sure.